the Bottom Line Podcast. I'm Jimmy Finizzi alongside Neil Villapiano. We hope you're doing well. As always, thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to listen to us. We really do appreciate it. Before we get started, as always, questions, opinions, you know the deal. Twitter at BottomLineWMCX. Same on Instagram as well. Please be sure to follow us on our new Instagram page as well. And also on Twitter at the NVP Show. What's that?
I have a question.
Oh, God.
I don't think everybody knows the deal. You know, you say that, you think like, what if it's somebody new that's just listening to the podcast? They might not know the deal.
That is very true. That also explains why I say that every single episode. But anyway, you can also leave a voice message on the Anchor app or anchor.fm as well. And if you're watching on YouTube, be sure you leave a like and a comment, and be sure you subscribe, as well as on Apple, Google, and Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. Just search for my first name, Jimmy, when you're searching for the Bottom Line Podcast. Now, this is going to be something entirely different for me because I'm going to school, and not for the reason that you might think. I'm going to school because today we are talking about the Premier League. And thankfully, besides Neil, I'm not alone on this because we are joined by two of our great friends who know way more about this than I do, Garrett Novak and Steve Durr. So, guys, how are we doing?
Hey, thanks for having me. Glad to be back.
No, of course. We're happy to have you back. Garrett, how are you, man?
I'm doing great. It is an honor to make the Bottom Line debut. Thank you, gentlemen.
Oh, yes. Dude, it's our pleasure, and our pleasure to have you back as well, Steve. So, yeah, this is going to be this is uncharted territory for me.
I'm laughing because for those of you that don't know, you know, Jimmy's talked about before, he rarely watches the NBA. Like, he doesn't know that much about the NBA. No offense, Jimmy.
It's fine.
What we're talking about today, he literally knows nothing.
No.
This is something he literally knows nothing about. This is completely like he's just going to ask a question, sit there, listen, and try to understand.
But what I do know is that Liverpool just won the championship this year, so congratulations to them. And I also have an article here from NBC Sports that we'll read a little bit later on, predicting the standings for next season already, and we'll get to that.
Yeah, no, I already heard the standings, and I'm already.
Our audience didn't hear it yet.
So well, you know what? They can look it up. They can look it up.
They need to know.
We're in quarantine. Everybody can use their phone.
Just like I need to know about Premier League, they need to know. Yes. But anyway,
I need to know
I'm getting ahead of myself. Wait, what's that?
Just like I need to know what the KBO scores are.
Give me a break. But anyway, so since Liverpool obviously won the championship, I figured we might as well dive into them first. So Neil, if you wanna kick things off here, the floor is yours, and I will just sit back and hopefully be a little bit more educated about this.
Well, you know, from my camera angle, from what I can see, it's only fitting that the Liverpool fan is above both the Manchester United and Arsenal fan here. I think that's only fitting. But yeah, you know, this was definitely a year of high expectations because we're coming off winning Champions League the year before, you know, and that was huge. That was huge. It was definitely the next step that we needed to take. And now the step going into this year was, could we possibly go and win the league? We finished only a point behind a team I shall not name at the moment from winning the league last year. And this was definitely going to be a year of high expectations. And, you know, we were really on a roll. As you can see, we were blowing away the competition. We were at one point 30 points in front of it was a combination between, I think Man City for the most part was in second place. I don't remember if they fell to third place at all off the top of my head, but probably Garrett will, because he has all the information in front of him, will gladly let me know. But when you know, everything got put on pause because of coronavirus, there was a lot of worry that maybe the Premier League would decide to just void the rest of the season and it wouldn't count. And Liverpool would win.
Hold on, Neil. Time out. Which team were you talking about in the standings before? Manchester City?
Yeah.
They finished second.
Well, no, I knew they finished second. What I was saying is that I don't know. Were they second pretty much the entire year is what I'm asking. I had to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, for most of the year they were. I believe earlier in the season, Leicester was in second at one point, and then eventually they tapered off.
funny thing about Leicester, they slowly dropped from the top 4. If you notice, like throughout the season, they went from starting well, and they
the restart was not kind to Leicester City.
Even before the restart, they were starting to slip a little bit, and then they just completely fell apart.
Out of all the major teams in the Premier League, they were the ones that I think seemed the least prepared for the restart. They seemed like they were out of sorts right from the get-go. But throughout this, stoppage, I was, as a Liverpool fan, I was definitely nervous about, we haven't won the league in 30 years, and are we really going to get screwed? But thankfully, because, the UK did such a phenomenal job in pretty much, flattening the curve and really making it safe for players, to go back and play, albeit with no fans, they made it possible to get back. And Liverpool came out and was very much determined to finish this off. And they did, with 7 games left to go. And albeit, I think that, they celebrated a little bit too much. And I think that's why they kind of didn't finish the year necessarily on a high note. They lost a couple games and tied that they shouldn't have. But, that's going to happen. And they were unfortunately unable to break the points record held by Manchester City and get to 100 points, which is obviously a disappointment. But you know what? The most important thing was that we won the league. First time in 30 years. We deserved it. We were the best team all season long. I don't think there is much debate over that. And, it sucks that, nobody can be out really and enjoy it. The team can't have a parade or anything like that and really enjoy it. But as the head manager there, Jurgen Klopp, said that at some point we will all be able to celebrate this accomplishment. And it shows you the culmination of when Jurgen Klopp was brought into Liverpool about 4 or 5 years ago. This was what he was trying to do. And he almost was on the money with how long it would take to win a Premier League. I think he said 4 years and ended up being 5. So he was pretty close, and I give him a lot of credit for it. But, Jurgen Klopp has done a phenomenal job in building this team with guys that are from the area, particularly, Alexander-Arnold, who is from Liverpool, and just bringing in guys that are not the heftiest, priced players, but they all work together so well in the system that has been created with the high, attacking press, that it just works, very smoothly. And, I know that some people were disappointed that Liverpool wasn't able to acquire Timo Werner via transfer from Red Bull Leipzig, but I think it also, there should be confidence nonetheless in Jurgen Klopp and, Fenway Sports Agency, I think it's called, their department, I don't remember the name on top of my head, that they are going to continue to try to stay competitive and try to once again, not only try to win another Champions League in the future, but certainly try to compete again to win another Premier League, which would be great. But this has been a phenomenal year. And shout out to Steve, by the way, because this is the first Liverpool kit that I've ever gotten, and it ended up being a pretty special one. So
there you go.
That's right.
It was a great season for Liverpool, and I'm very lucky that I'm only 23 and I've had the privilege of seeing them win a Champions League and a Premier League title. So
very nice.
It was a really good year for the Reds. No
now,
doubt.
Neil, I was just gonna ask you about the players. Like Neil,
Sure.
Who would you say was the biggest player on the team this year? Because I'm looking at their roster right now. They have Mohamed Salah, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Jordan Henderson, Curtis Jones. I mean, you got a bunch of talented guys in that roster. Who was like the biggest star for them?
It's definitely got to be the captain, Jordan Henderson. I think that, and it speaks for itself because he was announced player of the year, I think, in the Premier League, if I'm not mistaken. And he had a lot of weight on his shoulders, since he came to Liverpool from Southampton, I want to say. And, he was criticized early on. He dealt with a lot of injuries, but he really worked hard to get to the point that he is. And I think this year he really, really blossomed under Jurgen Klopp. It was like having another coach on the field as the game was going on. And he really emphasized what it meant to be from Liverpool, being the captain of Liverpool. And, he embodies it. He's a great player both on and off the pitch. And I think, obviously Liverpool has a lot of really great talented players. Salah, Virgil van Dijk, Alisson, you have, Alexander-Arnold, you mentioned Curtis Jones, Firmino, Mane, the list goes on and on. But I think if you look at just this year, the guy who really stood out the most and really made a lot of people happy and proud was definitely the captain, Jordan Henderson.
Wow. Oh yeah, that's definitely fair. Now, Steve, I gotta come to you because Arsenal disappointed you
How do
this
you go to
year.
him
So
next?
Yeah, I want to say,
what
Neil,
do you gotta say for yourself?
Man United finished above Arsenal. Why are you going to
hold
him?
on. I want to say real quickly, Neil, congratulations on Liverpool,
Thank you.
but is yours gold?
Oh. Wow.
I have to bring up the
This
49
is the thing I
undefeated.
love. Like, I can't have it. I
God.
just can't have this. Like, I can't just have people say congratulations and leave it. They got to go, oh, but Garrett said, like, you got to catch up with the amount that we have. All right,
Catch up
I
for
get
what?
that. Let me have this. Understand, it's been 30 years. Let me have this one.
Oh my God.
But anyway, Steve, go ahead, you Arsenal fan. Oh, by the way, tell me
I
how
had
their
to bring
season ended.
I had to bring it up. I
know
mean,
you
we
did.
don't have a lot in these days, so of course we cling on to the 2004 season when we went undefeated. I had to,
Cubs.
but this season was a lot of downs, but some ups. We started off this year, second year under Unai Emery, a lot of expectations to finish at least third or fourth. I didn't really see that. I saw us finishing at least fifth or sixth. I didn't think we were there just yet. We brought in Pepe, new signing from Lille, competed with Napoli to get him. And yeah, the season was not great at all for the most part.
Where were they? Like dead last in the standings?
Oh, no.
No,
No?
like,
It felt like it for him, probably.
Like
yeah.
it.
Yeah. I mean, at times, like we hovered around like 11th, 10th, which by Arsenal standards is abysmal.
Mhm.
Fired Emery midseason. It was
Thank God
Oh.
you
it was
did.
time.
Thank God you did.
He's not a Premier League manager. I'm
Dude,
sorry.
he proved that he
He's not-
sucked when he was at PSG. So I don't know what Arsenal thought they were getting out of him.
I don't know.
They were probably
They
hoping
weren't
they-
getting a whole lot, apparently.
Yeah. Yeah, they were probably
Yeah.
hoping he'd go back to his Sevilla days where he won 3 Europa Leagues, but
Ironically enough,
I was about to say, well, I mean, Arsenal
Garrett,
is in the Europa
Garrett.
League now.
ironically
Sorry, Garrett,
enough,
go ahead.
Oh no, that was it. I was just
That was
throwing
it.
in a joke there.
ironically enough, Emery is back in La Liga.
Mhm.
But yeah,
He
Wait.
sucks.
new head coaching search. We brought in Arteta, who, my opinion, was the number one guy for me. I wanted him more than anyone to be the next Arsenal coach, former
Me too.
Arsenal captain, and I definitely say he definitely turned things around with Arsenal.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Then of course the lockdown came,
Yeah.
and I will say, post lockdown, I'm impressed with Arsenal. I'm very happy with how they played. Just the awful start just really screwed up our season.
But they
You
won
know,
the FA Cup.
That's true. I mean,
Oh.
guys like Tierney, got healthy, started to
Mhm.
thrive a little bit. Ceballos started to thrive a little bit. Even Xhaka, he started to play better under Arteta. Similar, a little more
I was
confidence.
about to say, Steve, were they rashed by injuries or something? Or are they just
a
not
little,
that good?
A little bit.
No, they
Like
just suck.
it was like a little bit of both because our back line was abysmal and it's still pretty bad all season.
Got
Like
it. Okay.
our best defender, arguably, our best center back, arguably, is David Luiz, longtime Chelsea man. But he's gotten to the stage where he's Jekyll and Hyde because it's like he's either like lights out like he was against Man City and Liverpool, or he concedes the most penalties in the Premier League, which actually happens.
Oh my God.
Can I
Mhm.
also
Wait,
say that's
Wait,
a perfect?
hold on. That actually happens?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
David
Oh my
Luiz
God.
conceded
Mhm.
the most penalties in the entire Premier League this year.
That
Not
doesn't
good.
surprise
That's
me.
sad. I'm sorry. That's
He-
actually really sad.
You know what was
Yeah.
amazing about David Luiz? He went from for a week, he was arguably the most laughed at, hated player in the Premier League to then he did really well against Liverpool. Then all of a sudden everyone loved him again.
Mhm.
Ironically enough,
Wow.
like he got subbed on and conceded a penalty immediately against Man City first game of the restart. But he made up for it later on, beating Man City
Yeah.
in the FA Cup semifinal, which was
There you go.
phenomenal. He made up for it. I will say I'm impressed by the young guys with Arsenal. We have a lot of young talent. Like I mentioned Keenan Tierney before. Where did this guy come from? Well, I sort of saw him becoming like the player he is now. I mean, he played well at Celtic back in the Scottish Premier League. You know, he was nagged by injuries pretty much the entire season. Restart comes, he's healthy, he's balling, and he's actually now the #1 most sold kit out of all of Arsenal. Everybody loves this guy.
Wait,
yes, he is. It's Keenan Tierney. It's Keenan Tierney, believe it or not.
Wow.
Yeah, and I want to bring up the guy behind him next, in Bukayo Saka. Bukayo Saka has sort of had a breakout season.
He definitely
I agree.
He definitely was the guy that I was watching the most from Arsenal this year. But I think Aubameyang had the perfect representation of this entire Arsenal season by just casually dropping the FA Cup trophy on the ground.
He did what?
A picture. Yeah,
yes, he dropped the FA Cup.
And I don't. Did he break it? Was it confirmed that it was broken?
No, it was not broken.
Oh, thank God. Okay.
It's not like they dropped it off a bus or something.
Oh,
there are some teams who have done that.
It was just funny because like when you said that he did that, I was like, how perfect of a way to end the season by just saying like, yeah, they won it, but like, I don't know. It was still. But I gotta tell you, I did hear also, and this was actually tweeted by Sky Sports Premier League about 8 hours ago that Aubameyang is close to ending speculation about his future by signing a new contract with Arsenal. So it looks like Aubameyang is not going anywhere, and he's going to remain in Arsenal. For maybe another 3 or 4 years. I'm not sure.
Yeah, Aubameyang is absolutely the best player on Arsenal, hands down. Like before the beginning of the season, originally the armband, the captain's armband went to Xhaka. That didn't go so well, so they gave it to Aubameyang. So he sort of thrived in the captain's role, I think, a little bit. It's only fitting he wears number 14, of course. Neil, Garrett, you get it. You understand why.
I know.
But yeah, he's hands down Arsenal's best player. I was a little scared he was going to leave for a little bit because he was linked to Barcelona, and the temptation to Barcelona is always there, no matter how good or bad Barcelona is.
Like the Yankees.
Oh my God.
Feels like it. No, it's kind of, in a way it's similar. In a way it's similar because there is that dream of getting a chance to play for a club as historic as Barcelona is, but the problem is that not everybody can go there and perform at the level that they're expected to play. And that's why you see guys like Philippe Coutinho, who is, obviously originally from Liverpool. It hasn't worked out. And that's why he was loaned the past year and a half to Bayern Munich, because it just, I don't think it's working out between Coutinho and Barcelona. And Aubameyang, albeit a great player, without a doubt, maybe he wouldn't cut it in Barcelona. And that's no knock on him at all. Like, that's no criticism of how good he is. I'm just saying that why go somewhere where maybe you don't get a chance to play as much, whereas you stay at Arsenal where you can still – you're one of the most popular clubs in not only the UK, but all of Europe. And if you win there, and I'm talking like you win a Champions League or even a Premier League, you're a god. You're immediately – one of the greatest players to ever play there. So I think that Aubameyang is making the right choice. If it's official, which is not confirmed yet, but if it's official, I think he's making the right choice to stay at Arsenal.
So there are there's no terms of the actual contract yet for him? No, okay.
No, there's not.
Jimmy, the sad part about the world of soccer, football, whatever you want to call it, is that these type of deals could go on for months, where they keep throwing report after report saying he is signing, he's not signing. There's all these other things that go on with it. It's not until the club officially announces it till you believe it. So, a team like Steve and myself are big Napoli.
This is Napoli syndrome. Neil has Napoli syndrome.
I was going to bring that up. With Napoli in Serie A, which is the main Italian league. The Napoli has been linked to some players, and it has taken, I would say, about a month and change before it was finally announced that they had signed somebody, because there were terms going back and forth, about, certain money, length, roles. There's so many things that go into it. It's not as simple as what you see in the American sports here, where you hear the rumors, and a lot of the time it's either definitely true or definitely false. It's never one way or the other, maybe not. So
gotcha.
That's the the frustrating thing about when you hear a move. You can never believe it until the club really actually like officially says it happened.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Now, gentlemen, let's bring Garrett in here. Garrett's been a little bit quiet. I feel bad because I know he did a lot of research for this particular episode. So, Garrett, you got anything to say? The floor is yours.
No, I really just wanted to hear what Neil and Steven thought. Look, my thoughts on the season, at least as far as Neil goes, as much as I hate to say it, congratulations. Liverpool, far and away, undisputed and completely deserved champions for the season. You could see that from the start of the season. I think through the first 5 to 6 games, it was more of a matter of how much Liverpool could win the title by. They were far and away the most complete team for this season. My little jab at you is you still have a couple more to win before you catch up to Manchester United. But hey, you got one for the first time in 30 years. And
Garrett, are you a fan of Manchester United?
Yes, I am, big time.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Let's confirm this right now. I obviously am a Liverpool fan. Steve, who was talking about Arsenal, is an Arsenal fan, and Garrett is a Man United fan. So we have a little bit of everything. Jimmy, you could pick any team you want, literally. Just don't pick Man City.
You beat me to it.
Or don't pick Tottenham. Whatever you do, don't pick Tottenham.
Anybody but Manchester City, huh?
Even if you picked Tottenham, I wouldn't care.
Don't do it.
I wouldn't care.
What?
Steve and Garrett might get mad at it, but I don't. Like, I personally would be like, all right, whatever.
Nah, it would only be Steve.
We're literally advising you not to pick Tottenham. It's like a Jets fan being a Tottenham fan.
Steve's not wrong, but Tottenham Hotspur and Arsenal are very bitter rivals that are in the same city.
Jimmy a club that like is in the middle of the pack, just so we have that one fan of like a team that's right in the middle. So like,
watch him. He picks West Ham United.
No, Crystal
They're not in the middle anymore. Let's go with Burnley. Nice, boring Burnley. Let's go with that.
Hey, you know what? Because that's exactly my thoughts on soccer. I'm kidding. It's not that boring. It's not that boring. I'm kidding.
Here's the bad thing. I would say this. Think of Manchester City, Jimmy, as like the Yankees, but like you hate them. Like don't actually
so New York City FC, huh?
Because they don't. Yes, New York City FC is owned by Manchester City. Coincidence? Not really. But
and the Yankees.
True, yes.
And the Yankees.
I knew that. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I knew that.
The Yankees own Manchester City. It's the other way around. Come on,
Whatever.
Steve.
Fair
Nobody
enough.
owns the Yankees. The Steinbrenners own the Yankees. Manchester City, doesn't own jack. They just buy everything. They don't own it. They buy it and steal it.
Oh my god.
Can we talk about them in a couple minutes, please? And just
What's
shit
that?
on them. Can we go shit on them for what happened for Manchester City with the fact that they got their rule over? They got appeal. The appeal worked.
Go ahead, please.
No,
I'm having a real fun time being educated about this. Go ahead.
So they were going to get banned for what? A year or two?
2 years. 2 years from the Champions League.
From Champions League, and the appeal somehow worked.
Wait,
There
why?
was no explanation for that. To explain to you, Jimmy, is simply this. Manchester City, since not even Pep Guardiola has been there, but even before, have always been, because they're such a big money club, they go out, they don't develop talent, they go and buy it from other teams, and they use it for themselves. Legally or illegally, that just depends on what you look at. So they become despised by the rest of the Premier League because of the fact that they have been numerous times been accused of cheating, and there has been evidence of it. There's been evidence of the fact that Man City has used illegal ways to get certain players. And they originally were getting banned for 2 years from Champions League because of that by UEFA. Well, only a couple weeks ago, it was reported that the appeal that Manchester City put out was accepted by UEFA, and the ruling was overturned. So
Really?
Manchester City, instead of having to worry about losing everybody for 2 years because no Champions League, they now can go on a shopping spree for the umpteenth time, as they already are doing.
Oh my god.
I was about to say, and they've already bought 2 players and are probably going to be buying quite a few more.
So they're basically like the Houston Astros of the Premier League, except Houston got caught.
No.
Manchester City got away with it.
Well, Manchester City doesn't cheat during the game. Not that
And they're
know.
loaded.
Oh,
They
okay,
just
okay.
cheat off the field by stealing players illegally,
Got it.
by giving them a gross amount of money that they legally cannot give them.
Okay.
Basically.
I just wanted to be sure. Just wanted to be sure.
But let's let Garrett talk about Man United.
I was
You
gonna
can
talk.
about Man City. I don't care. You can talk about any of them. Go ahead. I don't
Oh no,
care.
I was.
It
I
doesn't
was.
matter. It doesn't matter.
Believe it or not, I was going to sing Liverpool's praises for just a little bit longer, so Neil can sit
ahead.
back and smile.
Go ahead.
Like I said, look, Liverpool were far and away champions. I mean, you look at the team front to back, one of the most complete teams that you saw. I will argue Neil's point. There are a few players in that side that cost quite a few chunks of change, namely the second most expensive defender in the world and one of the most expensive goalkeepers in the world over the past few years. But besides the point, I mean, look, over the past 4 years, you could see Klopp start to lay the foundation for the team, and it really culminated in the past 2 seasons where they got 196 points over 2 years.
Yep.
That has been bettered only by City with 198 over some of the more recent 2 years as well, when they hit 100 points and then 98 points when they won the league twice in a row.
Wow.
On the stat sheet, I mean, you can't really argue it against you. They had 2 players in the top 5 for scoring. Mo Salah and Sadio Mane were the top scorers. They had 3 of the top 4 assisters in Alexander Arnold, Andrew Robertson, who are arguably the best fullback duo in the world, regardless of what team you look at. And Mo Salah even had 10 assists. And then Neil talked about Jordan Henderson, who I believe they won, I think it was the Football Writers Association Player of the Year. I'm not going to argue that. He's been absolutely immense for the team, and you can see the difference on the field when Henderson plays. They just look a completely different beast, and they are just so much more tenacious and stronger when he's on the field as their leader. It was more a matter of how much Liverpool were going to win the league by this year.
Right.
So as much as I don't like to admit it, I mean, they were deserving champions. And Neil's probably still drunk from all the celebrations, but
I think Steve got annoyed after a while because, like, literally, if you went on my Instagram story for like 3 days straight, it was just constant.
I saw it. I
Liverpool
saw it.
won the league. Did I mention-
I agree.
Hey, I don't
even-
blame you.
I
Celebrate.
even texted him the entire lyrics to "You'll Never Walk Alone,"
Oh
and
my
it wasn't even to
God.
laugh at him. It was just like I was so happy that it happened. It was funny too because, again, like Garrett mentioned, it wasn't about was Liverpool going to win the league. It was just how much were they going to win by and how quickly could they get it done.
Yeah,
Because-
right. And Neil, you mentioned it earlier. 1990 was their last championship.
Is that 30 years ago?
Yep, 1990.
Yeah, 30 years. 30 years.
30 years on the dot was the last time Liverpool won the league. And, during the whole stoppage, it really did feel like at times that the Premier League was just going to stop and they weren't going to finish and Liverpool wasn't going to get that satisfaction. But I think the Premier League understood the significance of the fact that Liverpool had the chance to win the league for the first time in 30 years. So they wanted to get this done. I think if it was Man City who had that big of a lead, I don't think they would have continued it. Just to be honest with you, I think they would have been like, well, yeah, they win it 3rd year in a row, but who really cares? I think that there was some importance to the fact that Liverpool was on the verge of breaking a 30-year drought. And I think that was an important reason to continue. And I give Klopp a lot of credit that he kept his team locked and focused when they got back, saying, we're not done. The job's not done. We have to clinch this now. We have to finish this. Unfortunately, we couldn't clinch it on our own terms by winning. We had to rely on Chelsea to somehow beat Man City,
And
which
did they?
Chelsea is actually something I want to bring up
Which-
because there was one player on that club since the restart who has been on a tear.
I know where this is
And
going.
believe
Yeah,
it or
I know
not,
where this is going.
Yeah,
I
you
had him in
know.
my notes.
Wait, Steve,
We'll
are
bring
you
that up in a
talking-
sec.
Steve, are you talking about Willian?
Nope.
Oh, he's clearly
Oh.
talking about Olivier Giroud for sure.
That's-
Former Arsenal striker himself, Olivier Giroud.
But we know who you're talking about, Steve.
Yeah. Speaking
Yep,
speaking
he's
of
an
Arsenal,
American.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Arsenal, I want to poke a little bit of fun at Arsenal first before I go and rant about United here. A little bit of fun and some constructive criticism of them. I mean, it was the new year, new season, and same Arsenal problems. And I don't think Steven can argue against that, to be honest. I mean, look, you look at the spine of the team and the same issues that have come up for the past 6-7 years of a weaker back line and not a strong defensive midfield presence were just evident again. Now, I think they'll have some help coming in next season. They have William Saliba from Saint Etienne that they signed. He's a young 18-year-old center back who played at Saint Etienne on loan. I think he's their best Arsenal defender, and he hasn't even played for the club yet.
Oh, absolutely. I'm very, very excited for him to come in. I'm very excited.
I think he's going to make a major difference. Now, they still definitely need work. I don't think David Luiz is the answer at center back, considering he's in his 30s and is extremely error-prone.
How dare you? How dare you criticize David Luiz? You sick man.
Hey. And Steven talked about Unai Emery in the beginning. Look, they lacked identity and conviction with him. But Unai Emery didn't really have an idea of what he wanted his Arsenal side to look like. It was kind of cobbling things together. The Arsenal ownership group and the owners, they got sick of him, it seemed like, and fired him in November. Former player Freddie Ljungberg came in, did pretty well to steady the ship a little bit, and then they hired Mikel Arteta from Pep Guardiola's staff at Man City. And at the time, I thought I doubted the hiring. In fact, I did doubt the hiring. I thought it was not bad, but I did not think he was going to be the person that would take them to the next level. Mm-hmm. I will be more than happy to eat my words on that one. I think he's started to actually make them a more convincing team and have a blueprint of how they want to play. Their second half of the season was much stronger than their first. You know, they had some very big wins in the second half, namely against that 2-0 win against United that I remember watching, and I kind of stopped watching at halftime because I knew Arsenal were going to win that game. They were playing so well. You're welcome, Stephen. They beat Liverpool in their rematch towards the end of the season, and then in the FA Cup, they took down Man City and Chelsea in successive games. So the potential is there for them to get better. I think more recruitment is going to be needed. I thought Nicolas Pepe from Lille was an okay, not great signing because they broke their transfer record to buy him, and he didn't have the greatest attacking outlay, and he really is a very attacking player. But their youth stepped up big with Bukayo Saka that they mentioned, also players like Joe Willock, Eddie Nketiah as well. Really started to step up and get some good time in as well. Even Martinez, their backup goalkeeper, stepped in and played pretty well when Bernd Leno went down with an injury in that infamous loss to Brighton. So that was what I thought of Arsenal. I think the blueprint is there. It's going to take them probably another 3 years to probably get back into thinking about challenging for the Premier League title, but I think they're taking steps in the right direction.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And we've been saying this for years. Kroenke, if you're listening, back the manager, please.
No, Steve, don't ask Stan Kroenke to do anything that makes sense.
Yeah, he'll just build a fancy new stadium in LA then.
Wait, what?
He'll just move Arsenal to LA.
Yeah, there we go.
Stan Kroenke owns Arsenal.
I know. I do have I have a couple questions, but the first one I want to do is for Steve. Steve, you were about to talk about a certain player at Chelsea, so could you talk to us a little bit about that certain player?
Yes, Christian Pulisic, Wonder Boy himself, Captain America.
Captain America Jr. The original Captain America was Clint Dempsey. Thank you.
That is very much true. That is very much true.
No,
I will 100%
Captain America
agree on that one.
How dare you? The original
Dempsey did have a nickname first.
But is the original Captain American.
Yeah, Christian Pulisic, since the restart, oh my God, he has been an absolute tear lately. Arguably Chelsea's best player.
I wouldn't say arguably. I would say he was.
It's not even an argument. He was their best player this season, and especially when he came back. As an American, it's a nice change to see not only a American thriving in the Premier League, but an American thriving for a top club in the Premier League like Chelsea.
Mm-hmm.
But Steve, I was just going to bring this up to you about Pulisic. The amazing thing is he's only 21.
Yeah,
he's 21 years old, and he's
got an entire career ahead of him too, which is the scary part. If I will say, speaking of Chelsea, Frank Lampard has done a phenomenal job over there. As much as I like to dog on Frank Lampard for not doing anything in MLS, He's done a phenomenal job with Chelsea. Basically had no budget because didn't Chelsea get in trouble with UEFA?
Yep, they at the start of the season they had a 2-window or a 1-year transfer ban, so they were not allowed to sign players going into the season and during the second January winter transfer window. Look, I had him as one of the top 3 managers of the year.
People, and they're signing big names right now.
Yeah. Now that the ban is lifted, look, I had him as one of my top 3 managers of the year. I mean, when you the expectations were low, you go in with that transfer ban. He put all of his eggs in the basket of the youth academy, which they had been stockpiling young players for almost probably a decade now. I've lost count how many years they've been doing it. And they've finally been able to start to tap into it. And you saw the emergence of players like Tammy Abraham, who played well in the championship for Aston Villa and Swansea and got 15 goals this year. I mean, towards the end of the season, he kind of tapered off because Olivier Giroud was in good form. But Tammy Abraham had a great season. Mason Mount, that was a breakout campaign for him. Played under Frank Lampard at Derby in the championship last year. And Mason Mount, I thought, had a great season. Other young players, they had Billy Gilmore, Reece James, Tomori, the center back. They're getting valuable game time. And, I mean, the job that Lampard did to get Chelsea into the Champions League when so many people expected them to finish probably around 6th and be in the Europa League. You got to give credit to Lampard, who's still a very new manager. Yeah, he was one of the top 3 managers in the league this season for me. He did an outstanding job with Chelsea. I mean, for Pulisic, he's become indispensable at this point. When he's fit, he probably will start, and now he's getting new players to play with like Timo Werner and Hakim Ziyech, who have since the transfer window started signed with Chelsea, and that's going to be very fun for Chelsea fans to watch.
Let's not talk about Timo Werner going to Chelsea.
And
I didn't mean to rub it in your face, but I mean, you have to give credit to Christian Pulisic, who, by the way, I think he scored the winning goal that clinched Liverpool the title with that ridiculous solo goal that he scored. Absolutely faked Benjamin Mendy out of his shoes, and then had the composure to slot it past Ederson, who was arguably one of the best goalkeepers in the league this season.
I think it's fair to say Christian Pulisic cemented himself as a Liverpool legend by him single-handedly beating Manchester City.
I will not argue that. I think you're exactly right. Look,
he had that crazy game against Liverpool in the last regular season game this year. That was probably one of the most entertaining Premier League games I had seen all year.
Yeah, that was the one that ended like 5-3? I think it was
something like that. Yeah, 5-3. He came on as a late sub.
I want to quote Steve and say, that game was on drugs. That game was
not wrong.
And the best part was Frank Lampard.
Sounds about right.
Going literally, he wanted to go and smack Jurgen Klopp in the face. Mad about the celebration, and he started cussing him out. And you could hear Klopp put his hand out, settle down, like he was talking to a child. He was like, settle down.
Jeez. What the hell did he ever do to you?
That's definitely still the player in Frank Lampard being in there, and Klopp being a much more experienced manager, noticing that, and Lampard not being as experienced manager-wise.
I think Lampard overreacted to that. I think it was in a way, because again, look, Liverpool knew they were going to be raising the title regardless of what happened in that game, and they wanted to win that game to kind of finish on a high note. And I felt like they deserved to feel as good as they did, because when they scored that goal off the free kick, how could you not celebrate something that big? I mean, that was my argument too. I didn't understand why Lampard was that upset about
it. Who knows?
Yeah.
But anyway,
I thought Garrett was going to continue that, so I didn't know. That's why I shut up.
Yeah. I didn't get a chance to watch most of that game, unfortunately. I only really saw the highlights. But
yeah, I will raise this question though about Pulisic with Willian pretty much all set and gone from Chelsea. Does Pulisic get the 10 shirt next year?
No.
No, I think it'll end up being Timo Werner.
It's gonna be Werner or Ziyech probably.
Also,
I think it's already confirmed that he's wearing 11. He's going to be wearing 11. I think it's already confirmed.
So maybe Kai, if Kai officially goes to Chelsea, which is something which is something I wanted to bring up. So clearly, Kai Havertz, who's at Bayern Leverkusen at the moment, which is in Bundesliga, German soccer league, he's made it pretty much clear that he doesn't want to go anywhere but Chelsea. And Chelsea and Kai Havertz have theoretically agreed on a deal, but Chelsea still has to move, I think, 3 or 4 more players before they have enough to officially sign him. So do you guys think that Kai Havertz will officially make that transfer, or do you think it'll somehow fall through at some point? So
I think he will go. Part of it is because I'm kind of on the fence about it. Part of me thinks he will go because you have other fellow German players like Leroy Sané, like quote unquote leaking that the deal is agreed personally and they're just working between the clubs now. That's been a report that's come out in the past few weeks. My only concern is, yes, Chelsea need to sell players in order to get Havertz in order to fund the deal, but also to clear up space in that midfield because they have so many midfield players that are relatively capable. You have players like Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Ross Barkley as like your main attacking midfielders, maybe even behind Mason Mount. And that's normally where I see Havertz playing as an attacking midfielder. Ziyech can also play in that role as well, though for Ajax, he's mostly played out on the right, so he'll probably take Willian's spot. Yeah. So my concern is trying to fit the piece of Havertz in there with all the other players you have in the midfield because it's a very loaded midfield with a lot of quality players. So I think it's going to come down to if they can sell multiple players from their midfield in order to get Havertz in. I think it'd be an outstanding signing for Chelsea, and it would make them that much better. But it's going to depend on other pieces moving before he goes, if he does.
Steve?
I pretty much agree. I'm going to be honest. I haven't really followed much about Chelsea rumors or anything, but I pretty much agree.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like at this point, it's not about if a deal is going to happen. It's about when is it going to happen. I think that over the next couple of weeks, you will see Chelsea aggressively trying to move players, and we all know why they're moving them. I mean, Kai Havertz pretty much made it clear that he wants to go to Chelsea and everything. Hopefully it's not like Leroy Sané, even though obviously Sané eventually did, get to Bayern Munich, albeit not without a lot of, pushing and shoving from Manchester City's part. But look, Leverkusen's made it clear that they are okay with him going. Like, they're not putting up a fight with that. They're just like, hey, whenever it's time, it's fine. That's fine. But kind of speaking in that same realm, and this kind of revolves around Garrett, and I know that he's probably wanted to talk about this, is clearly the situation with, is Jadon Sancho going to Manchester United or not? I had sent in our Twitter group chat a couple days ago that for the umpteenth time, apparently Manchester United and Sancho had agreed on a deal, and then Dortmund came back a few days later and said that wasn't true. They haven't talked to Manchester United. Manchester United then came and said that wasn't true. We haven't talked to Jadon Sancho. And then Borussia Dortmund once again said that Jadon Sancho's not going anywhere. He's staying here, and if we're going to get an offer, it's going to be below his value, which I guess kind of makes sense considering the fact that we're dealing with this coronavirus, and maybe not every player is going to get the money, or every club, matter of fact, is going to get the money that they want for a certain player. But, and Steve, you can certainly jump in on this as well with your opinion. But Garrett specifically, do you honestly expect Jadon Sancho at some point in the near future to actually move to Old Trafford, or do you think this is something that's just a waste of time at this point?
It's a tough one to call because this is a very similar strategy to how United have signed their players more recently, namely players like Bruno Fernandes, who I could talk about forever, and Harry Maguire. Look, you'll hear the reports of, hey, the personal terms have been agreed, and now it's just waiting on the clubs to agree a transfer fee. Right. And you saw that with Harry Maguire take what felt like it took a while to get that deal across the line, and United eventually caving and paying what is still the most expensive fee for a British defender, really for any defender in the world. And the same with Bruno Fernandes, where you thought Bruno would move in the summer and ultimately waited until the winter, based on just how United have been approaching transfer deals. And Neil is asking the £120 million question of if Jadon Sancho will move to Manchester United. Do I want him at United? Absolutely. I think he's an indisputable upgrade over what we have on the right-hand side as far as pure right-wing talent. But I'm I don't want to hold my breath because I could see it fall through. But at the same time, I'm not surprised at how this transfer saga has gone because it's very much of the same based on how the more recent signings have come through to United. Again, I would love to see it happen, but I'm really just going to wait until it's officially announced. It would also be a heck of a story because Jadon Sancho is a former Manchester City youth product and moved to Dortmund to get game time and has blossomed into one of the best right-sided players in the world, arguably. And so to come back to Manchester but go to his original club's rival team would be one heck of a story. Of course, being a United fan, I would love to see it.
Steve, do you have anything you want to say?
Yeah, Jadon Sancho, absolute baller. He's been absolutely killing it for Borussia Dortmund over the years. It's really 50-50. I'm not really too sure what's going to happen at this point. It was just like the Osimhen transfer saga for Napoli. Like, we didn't know whether he was going to stay in France or he was going to go to Napoli or not.
Right.
It's like, it's really up in the air. I mean, it'd be good for United to have Jadon Sancho there. I mean, he's a game changer. I think the United fans would absolutely love him.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think Dortmund wants to keep him. I don't think they want to let him go.
Or if they do let him go, or if they do let him go, they don't want it to be for less than they value him at.
Exactly.
And that's what Dortmund have been very good at in the past few years. Another perfect example is when Ousmane Dembele moved to Barcelona.
Ooh.
They paid the second highest transfer fee in world history behind Neymar for Ousmane Dembele after Dembele had one outstanding season for Dortmund. So Dortmund have gotten very good at getting the maximum value from their players if they transfer. So
it's very similar to what's going on right now with Koulibaly. Napoli absolutely do not want to let him go.
Nope.
And as a Napoli fan, I don't want him
the
to
amount
leave.
he's worth.
Manchester City is pretty much going after him. It's 60, 70 million, but Napoli will absolutely am not budging. They want at least 100 million for Koulibaly.
That's fair.
Or something like that.
No, it's
in my opinion, he's absolutely worth that money. He's arguably the best center back in the world besides Virgil van Dijk. I mean, this man has to go against pretty much Ronaldo almost every.
He has to go up against Messi this weekend.
He absolutely locks him down. Yeah, he has to go against Messi this weekend.
And
Koulibaly is one of the best in the world.
Go ahead, Steve.
But it's very similar to. But yeah, his transfer saga is sort of like similar to what's happening with Sancho. Their clubs just don't want to let him go.
You know, I have a saying. There's a saying in Trenton, New Jersey, where it says "Trenton makes the world takes." I replaced that with "Dortmund makes the world takes," because that's pretty much in the last handful of years. You know, a lot of other teams come in and usually have taken a lot of Dortmund's talent, and you have to give Dortmund a lot of credit that they continue to develop just tremendous talent. And, you know, they brought in, you know, Erling Haaland, who, you know, we're already talking about where is he going to go after Borussia Dortmund, because it just doesn't, you know, it's really tough to imagine players staying in Borussia Dortmund long term just because of how it works there, because eventually he's going to get a big offer from somebody. But, you know, we'll see. With Jadon Sancho, again, I think he will definitely stay at Borussia Dortmund for another year. And then I think his value will go up even more because I think he'll get a much bigger role along with Giovanni Reina, another U.S., you know, standout who honestly, you know, his nickname is the American Dream, obviously, because Haaland gave it to him. But that kid, just like Pulisic, has a chance to make U.S. soccer very, very visible in European football. And then just talking really quick about Koulibaly, you know, Napoli is valuing Koulibaly for what the type of player he'll be in the next 3 or 4 years. Not what he is now, but what he can be. He can be better than Virgil van Dijk if he continues to progress the way that he's been progressing. And that's why I think, understandably, Napoli wants 100 million euros. Also, Napoli is a very small club. Them getting 100 million euros would do so much for their club if they get it. But I think that they value the player more than they value the money that he might get from somebody. So, you know, it just remains to be seen.
Mm-hmm.
And Neil, and I ended up losing signal right before I was about to say this.
Sorry, Gary.
You
go ahead.
said Borussia Dortmund makes the world takes, it's just like Red Bull. Metro makes the world takes.
Yeah, well, if the Red Bulls could actually
The
keep
freaking Red
players
Bull,
for more
really? You're
than a
going
year,
there?
they might win an MLS Cup.
I mean, look at how many players have come out of the club. Josie Altidore, Michael Bradley, Tyler Adams. I can just go on.
Oh, and they also had Thierry Henry, but then again, they didn't develop him, but still. Not a big deal or anything, but they had Thierry Henry as transferred to them, and they put him on loan to Arsenal. Think about that.
Oh, wow.
How does that work? It's usually the other way around, but this
Only
time
big
it
club things. Big club things.
I'll personally never understand. But anyway, so real quick here. So now I've gotten my knowledge a little bit on the Premier League. And speaking of the Premier League, I actually have an article here courtesy of NBC Sports by Joe Prince Wright predicting the Premier League standings for next season, 2020, 2021. I know we
What's
just
the top 10?
about this. We discussed a little bit of this off the air, but for our audience, and I know there are probably a lot of Premier League fans out there who are dying to know this if they haven't seen the article yet.
All right. So,
Manchester City.
Jimmy,
Sorry, Neil. Go ahead.
I was going to say, go from last to first.
Last of
Yeah,
first.
I want to hear all. I want to hear all 20. I haven't read the article yet.
I want to know who's projected to suck the most.
Okay, so according to Wright,
Continue. I want to give a quick shout out to Leeds United. I mean, it's been years since they've been in the Premier League. They're finally back.
oh, good.
And now
good,
we can hate
good.
them again because
Yes.
How long has it been?
The rivalry is back, baby. I love it.
So how long has it been since Leeds was last in the Prem?
It's been a while, like the 90s. Maybe
Oh,
longer.
I think what West
It was
Brom
mid 2000s.
West Brom and Fulham are also in too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
That's right.
West Brom finished
Fulham
second in the
just won a playoff.
championship.
They're just in.
Yep.
Oh,
Fulham just
good,
won the
good, good.
championship against Brentford.
Oh,
Love it.
nice. Well, according to these guys,
Here we go.
they predict West Brom to finish dead last.
That's fair.
I see it. I see it.
So
Usually, Jimmy,
West
I can
Brom
see
is
it.
predicted to be 20th.
Yeah, usually, Jimmy, the way they do these predictions is that whoever was the top three that finished in the championship that advance
Right.
usually is projected to be in dead last or like the bottom three, I guess, just because they're back in the Premier League and they'll probably get slaughtered.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah,
So-
I'm not going to argue West Brom. That's
Yeah, I'm not
That's
arguing West
understandable.
Brom
So West
whatsoever.
Brom-
I can see
so-
them going down.
So West Brom is last. Fulham is 19. 18 is Crystal
I can see
Palace.
that.
17 is Newcastle United.
Yes.
16 Aston Villa. 15 Leeds United.
Wow.
14 Sheffield
Wow.
United. Yeah.
They
Surprise.
have Leeds in the middle of the pack in their
Yeah,
first year
at
back in the
15.
Prem.
I mean, Leeds is
15.
pretty good. I mean, Leeds
Yeah,
is
have-
pretty good.
they have the Argentine mastermind in Marco Bielsa. I will not be surprised if Leeds stay up next year. He's
Oh my
he's
God.
revolutionized
Yeah, I
that
agree.
club in the years he's been there.
Like they're
Is he
not
really?
gonna be. They're not
He's-
gonna be
yeah.
like Wolves first year good or
Mm-mm.
Sheffield first year good back. But I can definitely see them like not in the relegation zone, but definitely staying up.
Yeah, 14th, 15th is probably a good spot for Leeds. I will not be surprised if they finish around there.
Gotcha.
I was a little
I would give them a lot of
surprised they
credit
had.
for-
I was a little surprised they had Crystal Palace in the relegation zone. But I'm not. But
Yeah,
at the
I
same
agree.
time, I can see it because from the restart on, they were horrible.
Oh,
They were
That's
comfortably
the thing, though.
mid-table,
Crystal
like around.
Palace-
I think they made it around up to 9th at one point,
yeah.
and then just completely fell off a cliff and finished 14th this past year. So,
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
and
Thing is, though,
they're
Crystal Palace always finds a way. They always find a way to
they
stay
do.
up.
Roy Hodgson will probably find a way. I don't know how, but he'll probably find a way to do it. But yeah, I kind of see them trending downward. I would not be. I'm a little surprised, but I'm not entirely surprised. I could see it being a possibility, but it's more or less likely to happen, I think, if they get relegated. I think
Fair
they'll find a
enough.
way.
So,
Newcastle, you have Newcastle falling pretty low too, right?
Yeah,
yeah,
they-
Newcastle 17.
Yeah, it's like Newcastle's like I don't know if I see them like above the relegation zone. I see them a little bit better
right.
because I do want Newcastle to succeed. It's always nice when Newcastle's good.
I agree.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So,
I agree.
like I said, 20 West Brom, 19 Fulham, 18 Crystal Palace, 17 Newcastle United, 16 Aston Villa, 15 Leeds United, 14 Sheffield United,
Okay.
13
can see that.
Burnley, 12 Brighton, 11 West Ham, 10 Southampton.
I'd put West Ham at
I don't
10.
know about West
Just
Ham.
on paper.
I agree with Garrett.
I don't know
I'd
about
put
West Ham finishing that
10.
high. West Ham is on a
West
very,
Ham at
very
10?
bad downwards turn.
Steve, I
Like,
agree.
they finished 16th this year.
That's the problem, because on paper they have such a good team, and you look at the players they just brought in. They've spent like 30-something million pounds on Sebastian Haller and only scored 7 goals. And then you look at some of their other attacking options like Felipe Anderson, the former Lazio winger. You have Yarmolenko, you have Manuel Lanzini, who's always been highly favored at the club. You have Pablo Fornals that they just brought in this past year from, I think it was Villarreal. On paper, their team looks so much better than a 16th place finish.
Oh,
and they literally
absolutely.
had to get carried through the rest of the season by Mikel Antonio, who scored 8 goals in July and won the Player of the Month.
Like, a
He
lot of people
absolutely
like to
saved
argue
them.
Arsenal is
Okay.
Like, a lot of people argue Arsenal is a huge underachiever in the league. No, it's West Ham. West Ham
I
is
agree.
a pretty decent team
Yeah.
on paper, but they always underachieve every year. It's infuriating.
They have
Wow.
a lot of expectations every single year to like, oh, this is the year they're going to take that major step, and then they end up not doing it.
Yeah.
And they piss off. And like the best part is listening to the fans complaining about I think their new stadium that they're in, which is a piece.
Which
of,
I've been to, and it's gorgeous.
It looks nice,
yeah, but
but
it's a piece of crap if you
it's
look at
not
like
a
how
good
you have to
football
get
venue.
there.
Like, the
You know how
sidelines
much
are
of a
bad.
pain in the ass it is to get to the damn stand? I mean, you would know, Steve.
well, that's
I know,
just
I've been
London
there.
in
It's
general.
I
though.
wouldn't know.
It's literally where they had the Olympics in 2012. It's
Yeah,
the Olympic
wow.
it's called the
Stadium.
Olympic Stadium. I mean, that's also London in a nutshell. It's already a tire fire to get around as it is, in my opinion,
Absolutely.
and
Fair
my
enough.
experience of visiting. But
There's
Fair
too many
enough.
clubs in
All right,
London.
so-
Garrett said it.
I agree. Yeah,
Too many
I
clubs
think
in London.
I think Southampton should be lower because they were really bad at the start of the season. You know, they had the joint largest defeat in Premier League history, losing 9-0 to Leicester. That was their lowest point last season, and then it became all about Danny Ings because he stayed healthy and
Right.
almost won the Golden Boot. If Danny Ings gets hurt and they don't have, and Che Adams plays as poorly stats wise
Yeah,
as he did this year, then they're going to fall much lower. So
I'm with you.
I don't think Southampton should be that high. I don't think they'll be relegated, but I do not think they'll be finishing 10th. I think they'll be
No,
finishing
no,
probably
that's-
around.
that-
Real quick,
that's-
can we all
that's a
just
fair
say how
argument.
smart Garrett is at this stuff, man? I mean, he is dynamite today.
Yeah.
I
Garrett
mean,
is
he
dynamite.
played the
No,
sport for years.
Yeah,
That's true.
I want to thank all 3 of you for educating me so far. This is definitely.
Well, you know what?
In
You know
all,
what?
in all
Jimmy, I will
seriousness,
say this.
it's
Jimmy,
actually
I
a
will
lot
say
of
this.
fun.
If you want to know, if you want to really learn the sport and get into it, Steve and Garrett are your 2 guys. Steve
Most
is.
definitely.
I'd
one
say
of the
more
top
so
2.
Garrett. I figured out all this stuff on my own, believe it or not.
Steve
Garrett's
got
definitely
me
the
into
guy.
this
He's been
sport.
playing
I
the
didn't know
sport for years.
anything until Steve started talking to me about it.
Oh, there you go.
So
All right, so now we go into the top 10 in the predictions. So Southampton, like I said, at 10. Number 9, Everton.
that
Number
I
8,
could see it.
Number 8, Wolves.
no,
Number 7, Leicester
No.
City.
okay,
6, Tottenham.
no.
5,
Ha!
5.
Nope.
See, Steve, Arsenal's 5.
Yes.
I could see it. I'd say it's an improvement. I mean, we finished 8th this year, which
It's a
is
slight
an
improvement.
Arsenal
Listen,
standards very, very
If
bad.
you're in Euros, you
But-
should be happy.
But I'd be happy
My
with
word.
it for Arsenal. As long as we finish above Tottenham, I'll be happy.
Yeah,
I
there you
mean,
go.
this shows how big of a club Arsenal is. It's our worst season, yet we still win a trophy
There you go. That's it.
and somehow
Fantastic.
manage to screw over Tottenham.
There you go. So 5
But they make
Arsenal,
Euros.
5 Arsenal, 4 Chelsea,
All right.
3 Manchester United,
Fair
2
enough.
Liverpool, 1 Manchester City.
Oh, so after we win the league, they're still those bastards in blue are still considered.
It looks
All
like
right,
it.
bet.
Yeah,
All
it
right,
looks
bet.
like
that's,
it.
That's cool. That's cool. We'll just beat them again like 4 times and call
Oh
it a
my
day.
god.
I mean, like,
I'll work my way from the bottom up here. Everton, no issues there. They really underperformed this year, but they
Right.
have 2 very good attackers. Dominic Calvert-Lewin finally broke out, had 13 goals. He was good. Richarlison's finally living up to that huge price tag when they signed him from Watford. Mason Holgate in the back line finally started to step up, and they have a multi Champions League winning manager in Carlo Ancelotti. So
just want to say that I'm very interested to see what Ancelotti could do with a full year at Everton.
Yeah,
I mean, he flopped at Napoli. I'm curious if he'll change his philosophy at Everton.
Well, that's the thing. They were, Napoli fans were hoping that was the case when Ancelotti left. Well, didn't leave, was dismissed by Bayern Munich, and then went to Napoli, and it didn't work out. So Everton is probably hoping that the same thing with Napoli doesn't happen at at Everton. So
I think if Everton overachieve, I think they make it to Europa League. I don't see them coming anywhere close to Champions League.
No,
considering they were in the relegation spots at one point in this year with Marco Silva as their manager.
Right.
And once they finally got Carlo Ancelotti and they finally started to turn around. Leicester and Wolves, I would probably swap them. Wolves have been just stupidly consistent. They've gotten 2 7th-place finishes the past years since they've been back in the Premier League. Nuno Espirito Santos is probably top 5, top 7 manager in the league. He's outstanding in the way that he's made Wolves such a consistent side. And
it's interesting about Wolves is that their head of sport, Doel left this year.
Yeah.
That's true.
He left for New York out of all. He left for us, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Red Bulls, yep.
And that honestly, that could make a difference because while their starting lineup is pretty well set, their reserves do need some freshening up, and they need to probably increase the quality there. But I'm not going to bet against Nuno Espirito Santo, who's a fantastic manager and has that squad so well drilled and so organized. And you saw players like Adama Traore finally put together a strong season in the Prem after struggling with Aston Villa and Middlesbrough in the past. Raul Jimenez had another great season in a row as leading the line as a striker. Yeah. I would probably swap Wolves and Leicester. I think Leicester, the injuries caught up to them this year because they had, especially right around the lockdown and then the restart, they had their big players like Ricardo Pereira, their left back, towards ACL. So he's going to be out for a while. And he at right back was probably top 3, top 5 in the league. He was playing out of his mind. He was doing great this year. James Maddison got hurt, and he's a huge attacking presence for them. Although that makes me doubt Jamie Vardy, and he just won the Golden Boot, and I don't want to bet against him because he will probably prove me wrong. I also want to point out the fact he this year made it to 100 Premier League goals, and it only took him 6 seasons. That's outstanding. Consider
Jamie Vardy, man.
That's really impressive.
And no Vardy, no party. He's had an outstanding season.
About to say
that was good. Wait, that was good what Garrett just said. I like that.
No Vardy, no party.
I was about to say that. No Vardy, no party.
Absolutely.
Oh
I love Jamie Vardy. I love his story. I watched that documentary about him, and it's incredible. Like where he came from to where he is now is just phenomenal.
Yeah. I mean, Leicester and Jamie Vardy have the biggest Cinderella story of the decade in all sports this year. I mean, they won the Premier League in 2016.
There are things that you appreciate in life,
That was one of them.
Having a good life, having a good home, finding the right girl, and Leicester
City winning the Premier League at 5,000 to 1 odds. So whoever put like a $10 bill on it came out rich.
Oh, yeah.
Moving into the top 6, Spurs at 6. I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say they're going to finish higher. And Neil and Steven, it is because this is Jose Mourinho's second season with Tottenham. History has shown Jose Mourinho's second season is normally his best one before it all becomes a dumpster fire in his third. So do not be surprised if Spurs finish in the top 4 next year. That's going to be my bold claim.
Speaking of Spurs, they're on all or nothing this year on Amazon.
Are they really?
I cannot wait to see.
I am excited to watch that actually. I'll hopefully get to watch that.
It was funny before he got
Mourinho
hired by Tottenham. ESC was actually discussing how funny it would be if they did a documentary on Red Bull and Mourinho went over here, and Mourinho trying to understand all the wacky MLS rules on how to bring in players and everything.
I think Mourinho would retire mid-season just from that bull crap.
I agree. I would not be surprised.
He would have a press
God.
conference like he did about Frank de Boer. He would just be like, I've come to realize that I may now be the
I'm
worst
so
manager."
sad I can't use that copy pasta anymore. You have no idea.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so I think Spurs could finish top 4. Unfortunately, Steven, I'd move Arsenal down to 6th. I think unless they sign more players, they're gonna be at the back of the pack of those big top 6 clubs. And then I'm gonna hate myself for doing this. I'm gonna put Manchester United in 5th.
Ow.
What?
Spurs
Wow.
4th, Chelsea
Oh my
3rd.
God.
Chelsea 3rd.
Wow.
Chelsea 3rd.
Are you serious?
Does
Yes.
everything else stay the same?
That's a coin flip for me. It's a coin flip for me. I would probably say City first because I've already seen them sign players like Ferran Torres
Yeah,
to
I
bolster
know.
their attack and Nathan Ake to try to bolster the back line.
Liverpool hasn't done anything.
That's as of when we're recording this.
Yeah, I know. By the time this comes out, which is only tomorrow, we'll get Thiago.
Thiago from Bayern.
We'll get Thiago, and we'll be great.
It's for me. It's a coin flip. It can go either way. I would not be surprised. I mean, they're undisputed the top 2 teams in the league. It's going to be between them, in my opinion.
Right.
I think Chelsea 3rd because of their increased attacking options with Werner and Ziyech and maybe Kai Havertz, as we talked about earlier. I put Spurs in 4th because of Jose Mourinho's second season. Hey, if they somehow finish 3rd, I'm not going to be entirely surprised because he took the shambles of the United side to 2nd when City got 100 points.
Right.
So anything's possible in the second season.
Anything's possible.
Yeah. United is 5th. It just comes down to their depth not being as strong. Their starting 11 is dynamite and could win the league if it was just those starting 11 players. I would say maybe 9 to 10. I'd probably need one more center back and maybe do something about David De Gea, but that's a whole nother can of worms. But after their starting lineup is where they start to get really thin, especially in their attacking options.
Yeah.
So I think that's why they'd probably finish 5th. Even though their starting lineup is very close to City's and Liverpool's, in my opinion. That might be a little bit biased as a United fan, but you look at the players on their starting lineups, and they did the league double over Man City this year, and they beat Chelsea 3 times out of 4 goes.
Right.
So their starting lineup can run with anybody in the Premier League, but the depth behind them, I think, needs to work. And then again, Arsenal was 6, unless they solve those long-standing problems, I don't see them getting closer.
Okay.
Interesting.
All right.
So a couple hot takes there, I get
Yeah,
it, but
I feel like nobody can respond to
You're
that. It's like,
right when it
well,
comes to
the Spurs one is a super hot take.
I think
I don't see
I think
Spurs
the
going in
appropriate
for it. I
response is
don't.
none.
yeah, I don't think there is a response to that. But like,
You can grill if Spurs finish outside the top 6, you can absolutely grill me for it. I don't care.
yeah.
I see Spurs in 6th. I really do see Spurs in 6th. I don't see them any higher. To be honest.
It's not that you see them; it's that you want them at 6.
There we go. There we
I
go.
really don't see them.
There you go.
No,
That's it.
Let's
Either
actually,
6th
you know,
or
in
5th. I can
Steve's
see
world, it's Steve's
6th or
world. He
5th.
wants
It's 6th or
Tottenham
5th.
like 19. like him down
But
there.
yeah, I will
Or
say though,
20th.
for Arsenal, I really don't see them any higher than 5th. I don't think they make the Champions League next
Mm-mm.
year.
No,
I really don't.
Nope.
Unless they, like Garrett said, absolutely fix their long-standing problems, which are probably not. It's Kroenke, let's be real. And their young players really absolutely take the next step. I don't see them finishing any higher than 5th place.
nope.
Wow.
I still think Liverpool should be ranked number 1 going into the preseason unless something happens.
Is that just being biased or are you being real?
Yes. No, it's being biased.
Oh my God.
I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like, you know what? Like, I understand it from
You're just salty that Manchester City is predicted to be the first seed.
Yeah, I know.
You're just salty.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
salty because
I
guess
also have
what?
Man City
They
in
shouldn't even
first.
be allowed- they
You
shouldn't
also
even-
do too?
Yeah, I mean,
I also have Man City in first.
Oh my God.
here's the thing. If the ban was still on, nobody would pick that right now.
Right.
I guarantee you nobody would pick Man City to win the league. Like,
If the ban was still on, I would absolutely pick them to win the league because they're not playing European football and they're playing less matches.
Oh
well, I guess no,
That's
that,
true.
But
no,
if they were not playing
true.
Champions League football, I would absolutely pick them to win
you
the
know
league.
what? You know what, Garrett? You make a very good point because if they're focusing on just one thing and not multiple things at a time, they could just go full-fledged every single game and it
Fair
doesn't
enough.
matter. Well, yeah,
Mhm.
because again, the way the soccer works in Europe is that you have to balance it between the league play and then domestic cups and then, European leagues. And it's a very difficult thing. That's why it's hard for you to win just one of those major things. To win the league, you have to, that doesn't mean that you are also going to be able to go win Champions League, as Liverpool proved this year, losing at home to Atletico Madrid. It's very difficult to stay consistent and to stay healthy and obviously to stay fit for both of those major things that you're dealing with. I mean, It's not an easy thing to deal with. So if there was a ban, you could see that. But I don't personally feel that. I guess this is more of an on paper thing, because considering that Man City has signed people and is clearly showing that they're trying to reclaim the title. But I've always felt like, hey, if you're the champion, you should be considered, the number one favorite, until proven otherwise. That's just my opinion on that, but I know how this works. And if Liverpool were to sign a player or two, which I don't think they will, I think they're very satisfied with who they have, and I think they're also satisfied with how deep their academy is right now. Jurgen Klopp said before, he would love to have a team at one point that is full of just guys from Liverpool. It's just a flat-out Liverpool team from Liverpool, which I think is almost unheard of in a major club. It's almost unheard of to have your starting 11 be guys from the academy or just from the area. I think that's very difficult.
So Liverpool wants to be like Manchester United. I see. Okay.
I was going to go with more Barcelona-ish.
Let me rub some salt into the wound at a random stat.
Oh God!
That Trent Alexander-Arnold could have played for the USMNT.
Yes,
I do. I think I do remember seeing that.
He has U.S. citizenship, doesn't he?
He does.
I think so.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. The jab about United is that United has a long-standing record of matches in a row with at least one player from their youth academy in their lineup, whether starting or on the reserves.
And Klopp was talking about not just having one, but having an entire starting 11 be just, what is it called?
The XI, the 11, starting 11.
The word that they use?
Or just the starting 11, the XI, whatever they call it.
Yeah, well, no. There was a certain term that they used for, like, if you're a homegrown player, but it wasn't homegrown. It was something else.
Yeah, I don't remember what it is.
But Steve, you know what I'm talking about, right?
I do know what you're talking about, though. I just can't remember what it is off the top of my head.
So, like, he wanted that.
I can't look it up because I have no internet.
And I was, right, it's fair. I was looking around before, and I don't remember the last time that there was a big-name club that had a starting 11 of players that were just from that area, that are just from there. I think the closest I can think of is maybe Barcelona, like way back in the day, or maybe
when they were
probably back about a decade at the height of their powers.
When they were competent, when they were actually a competent team.
I would say that's probably the closest you would have gotten.
How many players does Barcelona have out of their Champions League match tomorrow? Like 5?
Quite a bit.
They have quite a few.
2 days. We'll get into the Champions League later, though.
Right.
We can get it done right now, real quick.
We might have to do another episode. We've been going about this for a while.
We're pushing 2 hours here.
Well, just to quickly wrap things up here, let's get into the Champions League a little bit, because Neil, we were kind of talking a little bit about this particular team off the air. That's Barcelona, considering the fact that they've kind of, I don't want to say have been horrendous, but they did have a pretty good start, and they've kind of like fallen off the map. And we were talking about this before. Unless Messi can carry the team on his back like he has pretty much for a majority of his
basically
career,
Argentina.
What more do you want?
It's becoming like it, yeah.
I will say this. Look, first of all, Barcelona has dealt with a lot of pressure, I think, since the Neymar saga happened a couple of years ago when he moved to PSG. I think since then they've been kind of scrambling to find a team that is capable of helping Lionel Messi, get back to winning La Liga, winning Champions League, and continuing to be the most dominant player in all of the sport. I think now Barcelona in many ways has decided, well, we don't need to necessarily go out and get major studs. We can just have Messi continue to carry us. And I think Messi at this point, as we've heard reports, is pretty much fed up with it. He's pretty much fed up with, Barcelona not doing enough to help him out. I mean, they brought in guys like Griezmann, the guy from Deutschland that escapes me. He went to Ajax. He's from Ajax. His name escapes me.
Oh, Frankie De Jong.
Frankie De Jong.
Frankie De Jong. That's what it is.
And they brought in, Philip Coutinho, and that clearly hasn't worked. They've tried numerous things and it just hasn't clicked. The only other guy that's really clicked with Messi is no surprising is Luis Suarez.
Mhm.
But even then, Suarez at times.
So when he's not biting people, he actually wants to play soccer.
Okay.
All right.
Look at Jimmy with some soccer
Jimmy
banner.
does
Let's
know a little
go.
bit about
He's
this.
learning.
Yeah, he is.
He knows a bit about it.
I know
But
a
does he
little
know?
bit.
Wait,
but
hold on. Does
clearly
he
not
know?
as much as you do?
But does he know the nickname of Napoli's head coach? Does he know
That
the
I do not know.
The snarling dog.
Oh my god.
And there is a reason for that.
Well, he got that as a
Gattuso.
player.
As a player, yeah, he still called that even as a.
Yeah, that's fair.
I will say something about Rino Gattuso. I will say something about him
No,
with
quote
Napoli. I
No,
would
you
doubt
gotta
it the
quote the
higher
big-
at first. No, I'm not doing that.
I already know the quote.
You can.
Yeah, I know you know the quote, but
You can.
I was
It's
gonna
unfiltered
say-
here. Just say it. Say it.
Can I get my thought out?
Sure.
Thank you. I will say about Rino Gattuso, I admittedly doubted the hire at first. I wasn't too sure about Rino Gattuso. I wasn't really too sure if he was the guy for Napoli. I mean, look at us. We were sitting in 11th place at the time in Serie A.
So,
Pretty much, I was scared we were going to get relegated. I was legit scared. That's how piss poor we were playing.
Wow.
Steve told me
somehow-
this back in like December. He was like, "Dude, I think we're gonna get relegated." I was like, "Get out of here!"
I was
my
legit
God.
scared we could get relegated.
Like, we're not getting
But
relegated.
somehow,
Come on.
we were playing piss poor. The players went on strike. The owner
That's true.
was going to fine every single player. Like, you'd think you'd probably get relegated because all of that, a perfect storm of getting relegated. Am I right?
Jimmy
Getting there.
doesn't have an answer to that. Don't you're asking Jimmy? He doesn't have the answer.
This is
Yeah,
one
it
for
was.
Garrett.
I've got nothing. I'm
It was.
just here.
It's definitely some of the components. Look, I don't follow Serie A very much, but I do know based on
Good.
what I've seen from Steven keeping us informed about Napoli is that they have turned it around with Gattuso at the helm, and they even won the Coppa Italia this year, which
Oh
is
my God.
which I
Great.
can't remember the last time they won a trophy, which is probably not
can't.
good
It
for my
was-
knowledge.
The first
But
time
it meant so much to that team and has really galvanized it. And
What team is this?
Napoli,
Napoli.
the same
Oh,
team.
Napoli. Okay.
Yeah. So
it's this
Gattuso
one.
has helped to steady the ship a bit, and just kind of bringing it back to the Champions League is Napoli. I think definitely has a lot more momentum than Barcelona because of how poorly Barcelona played. And when they restarted in La Liga, they had I think it was a 4-point lead over Real Madrid
Mhm.
in the race for the league title, and Real Madrid ended up winning the league because Madrid were so consistent and Barcelona just seemed to fall apart. And that's kind of been a long-running theme kind of over their transfer policies and how they've been trying to do business. So just to kind of bring everything full circle,
Yeah.
the two teams play against each other this weekend in the second leg of their Champions League two-legged tie. And I would not be surprised if Napoli comes away as victors. I think on paper, Barcelona is still the better team, and they will probably find a way to win. But do not be surprised if Napoli comes away with a victory because of the contrast in form and how well Napoli has played recently, especially with their form in Serie A and bringing them back up the table, and considering Barcelona's form and playing pretty poorly and leaning on Messi, and it's starting to show that it's not as successful as it used to be.
Yeah, and I will
talking
say
about this.
Napoli's form hasn't been great as of recently. Like, it's actually dipped as of recent games. They have not been playing that well.
Right.
If they could find their form that they played with at the beginning of the restart, where they knocked off Juventus to win Coppa Italia, but as a Napoli fan, public enemy number one is Juventus. We'll always hold it to them. But if they can find that form, I would not be surprised if Napoli can somehow get a result in Barcelona against Barcelona.
And I will say this. This is the interesting thing. And Jimmy, you can relate to this because we talked about different sports coming back and everything like this.
Right.
Napoli is going into a place where Barcelona pretty much,
Does not lose.
Don't
just
lose.
doesn't
They
Yeah.
literally
there.
don't lose. They're
They
on like a
don't lose
30-plus
there.
game winning streak there, especially in the Champions League.
But the main thing is simply this: there are no fans, and there's really no advantage that Barcelona has necessarily
Right.
over Napoli going into this. And it's a 1-1 draw. It's not like Napoli is playing from behind right now. I mean, obviously, if it ends in a draw, 0-0, Barcelona moves on because of away goals. But if Napoli gets on a roll right from the first touch of the ball and, even scores the first goal, Barcelona, I think, is going to crumble, because I think Barcelona is looking for something right now to get them going. And Champions League is really the only thing they have left. If they get knocked out by Napoli, I think you're going to see real change at Barcelona. I don't know what that
I
is.
100% agree.
I don't know what that is. Is Messi going to move? I don't think he's going to move this year.
Considering the fact how frustrated he is, he might.
I don't think Messi is going to remain at Barcelona the rest of his career. That much I feel. I feel at this point, unless Barcelona really just convinces him somehow, I don't think it's at this point. It's not about the money for Messi anymore. It's clearly about he wants to try to win. He wants to win championships. I had even heard a rumor that he was interested in going to Inter Milan and competing against Cristiano Ronaldo in Serie A, which, I mean, would make sense.
That's been debunked already, though.
Yeah, that's
I
as interesting as it would have been.
Watch that. I would.
He should come to Napoli.
You know how much expectations he'd have? Maradona is a literal god in Naples.
Well,
Messi is the closest thing to Maradona. Oh, Lord. Can you imagine
the last thing Messi needs is another comparison to Maradona to play at the same to play at another one of the same clubs and the same national team.
God.
So I think bottom line, when you look at this matchup between Napoli and Barcelona, as much as, people might think I'm crazy, I think in a way you could say this is somewhat of a coin flip, because you just don't know what type of teams you're going to get. Because Barcelona would feed off of their crowd if they were there. If they were there, I would not have as much confidence. But because there's no fans, and clearly there's much more pressure on Barcelona than there is Napoli, because Napoli at this point is playing with house money. They've had a tremendous turnaround for since Gattuso took over. And if they were to somehow knock out Barcelona, I mean, that would put Napoli in some serious, question. And then again, they would be playing against Bayern Munich with no fans. So again, you don't know, but with it all just depends on how it goes. And I will quote Gattuso. Jimmy may hate it, but I'm going to say it anyway. He sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit. That's pretty much how Gattuso does things at Napoli. Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.
And I will say,
shit, who knows?
Napoli may be at a disadvantage this weekend because they may not have their captain in Lorenzo Insigne.
He's good.
Injured last game.
He's good.
It really depends on his health. And
Steve,
when it comes to both teams, it's really all the mind games. Barcelona's been a little mentally weak recently. Napoli,
say longer than recently, but all right.
Apparently, Neil said the captain's healthy. He's ready to go.
I hope so.
It has been reported that Insigne is pretty much healthy and he's going to play.
Oh, thank God.
There you go.
Because the injury that he suffered in the last game of the season was not a major one.
There you go.
That's good.
He's basically been off his feet for the last couple of days, so he hasn't really been training as much.
Right.
But they feel confident, whether it's he starts or he comes off the bench.
If he comes off the bench, that's going to be interesting because Chucky Lozano would most likely get the start.
The Mexican Flash. I made that up.
I like that.
I mean, Chucky Lozano has been, for a lack of a better term, a disappointment at Stadio San Paolo since he came. And maybe this is that opportunity. If he actually plays, this could be that opportunity for him to have all forgiven if he can step up. Koulibaly, as we mentioned, he's going to have to go up against Messi. Is Koulibaly capable of shutting him down? Not shutting him down, but certainly slowing him down. I think that's a possibility. And Barcelona has several key players that are not playing on Sunday or Saturday, whichever day it is. So Napoli is not in a situation where they're so overmatched that you can easily say Barcelona's got it, no big deal. Napoli was winning the majority of their game in the first leg, and it looked like it was going to end 1-0. If it had been 1-0 Napoli going into this match today, it would be a lot of pressure, even more pressure than what Barcelona has. But I actually like my chances with Napoli pulling off an upset. Whether they win or not, I can't say, but certainly advancing, I think they have a legitimate shot of doing so.
Very, very interesting.
I also think that Chelsea won't score in the second leg against Bayern Munich.
Oh,
I don't think they have Pulisic going into this, don't they?
No, they're screwed. They're not getting out of it.
oh
I don't think so. Neil, their second leg matchup, that's at the Allianz Arena in Bayern, right?
Yeah, I think
It's in Bayern?
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
Because not only did Chelsea lose against Bayern Munich at home, they got destroyed.
Yeah, it was 3-0.
Single-handedly by Serge Gnabry.
Serge Gnabry, Alphonso Davies with that mesmeric run that he had along the left side, and then I think crossing the Lewandowski for the goal. I remember watching that on highlight reels a bit. As far as just kind of looking forward for the rest of the games, I think Bayern goes through comfortably. The Man City Real Madrid matchup, it's going to be close. I think City has the edge because they have the goal difference in their favor. Yeah, I think it's more of a toss-up, but I think I'll give the edge to City on that one, even though Real Madrid have played very well to win the league.
And I'll give you my quick predictions because I do have to head out soon.
Yeah, sure.
I think Juve tops Lyon. I think Man City tops Real Madrid. And we all know Bayern's going through. Let's be real. And at the end of the day, I do think Barcelona has this slight edge over Napoli. High-end talent will probably win the day again.
There we go. So bottom line is, I still know nothing about this, but
2 hours later.
Thank you to Neil, Garrett, and Steve for educating me a lot. This was actually a lot of fun. So that'll wrap it up for us.
Hey, thanks for having us. Maybe we do this again when the Champions League final comes.
We
of course.
Napoli is in the Champions League final.
I'll go to school again. But anyway, that'll wrap it up for us on the Bottom Line Podcast. If you have any thoughts on anything we discussed, let us know on Twitter at BottomLineWMCX and on Instagram as well at BottomLineWMCX. And also follow Neil on Twitter at the NVP Show and use hashtag BottomLine. Voice message, Anchor.fm. You know the deal there. And also be sure, if you're watching on YouTube, leave a like and a comment down below. And don't forget to subscribe as well as on Apple, Google, and Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. Just include my first name, Jimmy, when searching for this podcast. But Garrett, Steve, it was a tremendous pleasure having two great friends on to educate me about soccer. Neil as well. I can't thank you both. Well, we can't thank you both for coming on, and we're really looking forward to having you both back on again real soon.
Yeah, good to see you guys.
Hey, I had a blast. Thank you for having us.
Definitely want to do this again. It's always fun talking it and love hanging out with you guys. So
it was definitely
always appreciated.
It was definitely our pleasure. We'll do it all again real soon. That'll do it for us. For Neil Villapiano, for Garrett Novak, and for Steve Durso, I'm Jimmy Finizzi. This is the Bottom Line Podcast. See you in the next episode. Peace out.